Alright, what's going on, guys? To say that Elden Ring's DLC was successful would probably be the understatement of the century. I'm sure we all can remember back to the initial release of Elden Ring as a game, where it felt like literally everyone on the planet was playing it at the same time. You could not escape it, and Shadow of the Erdtree felt like a repeat of that. And we even had the official Elden Ring account tweeting out that the DLC had sold over 5 million copies in the first opening weekend alone. Those are some incredible numbers. But this week we actually got a better look inside the business side of things with Bandai Namco's new financial report, and what it shows is that Shadow of the Erdtree literally made history for them. And we gotta talk about this because I don't know if you've been keeping up with the gaming industry lately, but it feels like companies cannot keep up anymore, with layoffs happening every single day, projects getting scrapped, and companies operating at a loss. Why is it that a game that continually gets bashed from all sides as being inaccessible, not for everyone, and too difficult, is able to always come out on top in today's climate? So we're gonna talk about that and break down the numbers here, but as we get into that, if you enjoy all things Elden Ring and want to stay up to date on the lore and discussion, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and now let's get into it. So let's start off by talking about these numbers because this stuff is crazy, man. As we mentioned, Bandai Namco just released their new financial report for the first quarter of the 2024 fiscal year, and they actually had to come out with a revision statement raising their projections for the next fiscal year by 40 billion yen. Now, you know you're having a good year when you have to come out and tell people, hey, we messed up. Actually, we're making so much money that we're gonna have to almost double our operating profit projections. So take a look at this. This comes from GameBiz.jp. On August 8th, Bandai Namco Holdings Incorporated revised upward its consolidated earnings forecast for the September interim period of the fiscal year ending March 2025 to sales of 555 billion yen, previously forecast at 515 billion yen, operating profit of 82 billion yen, previously 55, ordinary profit of 88 billion yen, previously 57.5, net profit of 60 billion yen, previously forecast at 40, and EPS of 91.7 yen, previously forecast at 61.14. So let's do some quick conversions for us here in America. They raised their projected net profit by 20 billion yen. That comes out to 136,400,000 US dollars more than what they had originally planned. And as noticed by GameBiz.jp, this is the highest grossing profit quarter in Bandai Namco's history. And you may be thinking, well, Bandai Namco is a big company, they have a lot of holdings. Surely this is just a mix of a lot of different variables all contributing. Well, let's read their reason. On the business side, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, the major downloadable content of the home console game Elden Ring, was a hit, contributing to the operating results in the digital business. And they go on to say that trading card games and other card products and toys helped as well. But Shadow of the Erdtree is the main reason for the revision. Now we have to think it's not like they didn't think this was going to sell well. It's just absolutely crazy how much demand there is for this game. And you gotta think too, it's not like this is just a simple add-on. First off, in order to even get to the DLC and the content that you bought in Shadow of the Erdtree, you have to be at the end game and beat one of the hardest bosses. So purely from an accessibility standpoint, there are some barriers to entry, and everyone knows that, and everyone still bought it. Not to mention the game journalists from nearly every corner berating Elden Ring as too hard, saying it's inaccessible and ableist, as well as all those AAA devs coming out and saying it has poor design in its UI, UX, and quest design. We didn't forget about that. But money talks, and here we are. Elden Ring literally blowing past every metric imaginable, when against the standards of the gaming industry today, it shouldn't. And I think it's a big wake-up call, or at least it should be, because if developers are smart, they're going to pay attention to this. And that's why we need to talk about the rest of the gaming industry. It's hard to get online and read the news and not get the feeling that the games industry as a whole is crumbling right before our eyes. Every day there's new streams of layoffs or studios closing down, big AAA games that are completely flopping. Every single day there's bad news to find, which paints a pretty grim outlook for the future. For example, a studio I actually really enjoyed was Bungie. I played a ton of Destiny over the last decade, and over the last few weeks they have laid off a ton of their studio. Not just minor roles either, seemingly indiscriminate layoffs of people who significantly contributed to Destiny. Meanwhile, if we go look at FromSoftware, they're constantly putting out new newsletters about positions they're hiring for, holding seminars, and looking for new recruits. And we have to ask, well, what makes FromSoftware Software different? Why is the rest of the industry in shambles while they're reaching their all-time highs? Well, it's not a very simple answer, and at least with Bungie, there are a few variables, such as them selling to Sony and upper management, restructuring the company. But Destiny as a game was suffering monetarily for a while now. But I think there's been a pretty big paradigm shift in the gaming industry as a whole, where people are actually expecting good games. AAA companies can no longer get away with putting out a bad game and selling on name value alone. We can look at a few examples such as the Suicide Squad game, where you have famous pop culture characters, which are popular, and then they decide, oh, live service games are popular. If we combine these two things, that's a recipe for success. But then you see that the game flops so bad that Warner Brothers as a company suffers a 41% drop in revenue. Skull and Bones is another game that was expected to do good by Ubisoft, so much so that they had a budget of $200 million, yet reports claim the game didn't even sell 1 million copies. So the fact of the matter is that people don't want to buy bad games. And when you have a game like Elden Ring that genuinely knocks it out of the park in all categories, even if it's hard or inaccessible, people will still play it. And it doesn't have microtransactions or additional purchases, it's a one-time buy, and look at how much money they made. A heck of a lot more than these massive budget AAA games that are trying to sell on name value alone, while not providing an actually fun game to play. Let me give you another example. Black Myth Wukong is releasing in just over a week, and as it stands right now, the game is absolutely dominating on the Steam charts. People are flocking to the trailers talking about their anticipation, and they haven't done anything crazy. There's no major budget marketing campaigns that fly out of the box. They're not doing any kind of celebrity endorsements or latching on to big companies to market their game for them. All of this hype is purely generated by gameplay trailers. It genuinely looks like an amazing game, and so people are willing to buy it. And they're not a giant studio either. This will be Game Science's third game, but all of the accolades that Black Myth Wukong is receiving is purely by its own merit. Now, it remains to be seen if the game will live up to the hype, but given that everything we've seen has been gameplay, I'll be shocked if it doesn't. Regardless though, what this proves is that gamers aren't stupid, man. People can recognize the good from the bad. And until these big studios start recognizing that above all, the main focus should always be on creating actually good games, then things like the sales of Elden Ring and its DLC are going to continue to be outliers. But on a positive note, I do think that wake-up call is happening. 2024 has been a great year for games, and even last year was solid. The genuinely good games that come out are having great success. I mean, I had a great time with Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring DLC, of course, obviously. Tekken 8 did really good. Hades 2 was a big hitter of the year. Everybody I knew was playing Helldivers 2. So while it does look bleak for the industry side of things, there are still plenty of amazing games coming out, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. The good thing is though, the consumers are chasing down those good games. And I think the crazy success of Elden Ring is only going to cause more studios to self-evaluate and realize that no matter how the market trends, the best thing they can always do is just simply make a great game. Anyways though guys, that is going to do it for the video today. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments section below. How are you feeling about the games industry as a whole? And do you think the success of Elden Ring and its DLC is going to be that shining light in the industry and cause things to improve going forward? Either way though, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here, and I will catch you in the next one.